under early on. But GT immediately realizing that we can't allow our lanes to sit here and be abused. Let's pull the trigger. Let's start 5v5ing. Let's use our composition. And that's why GT have been such a surprising team, is because they're very smart on executing on their win conditions.
You see, once again, GT going to ban away the Thresh, but the Vladimir not going to go through this time around. Insta-locking the Hecarim, actually, for Lupa. He's, of course, played it a fair bit in the Demacia Cup. Hasn't yet... Actually, no, played it once so far in the LPL. He's going to lock it away one more time.
And so pretty much saying that this was the catalyst, the guy that was useless for 20 minutes of that game.
Yep.
We're going to grab this one. Again, still don't know if that's going to be a jungle Hecarim or a top lane Hecarim, although we can see that Looper's spells are the flash teleport, so I suspect that it may actually be a jungle Hecarim.
That's a good point. Hasn't switched it over just yet. Gimgoon, though, once again, going to lock away the Trundle as... My goodness, Wushang actually going to take away the Graves.
I do not know why teams always let Savoki have Trundle. He is a phenomenal Trundle player.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously Trundle is just so key in the meta right now, just because he's able to strip away your stats. And when you play him in the support position, you have this beautiful disengage composition. He works really well in tandem with power picks like Jen. Jen, of course, banned this time around. But I just think he's in such a perfect spot, and you can very easily priority pick him first. And game talents have always said, if Trundle is available, we will pick him.
Yeah, and also, game talents pick him for Savoki. Gimgoon hasn't played it yet. So you talk about it like, we talk about it like it's a flex pick, and it certainly is. It can go towards that top side of the map, but Savoki, just so good on it that there's no reason not to just put it as support.
And immediately the gauntlet has been thrown by RNG, though.
Oh,
they're like, we're done messing around, we're taking the priority Hecarim, and we're getting Xiaohu on the Azir.
And they're going to lock away the Braum here as well, so a little bit more tankiness for this RNG roster. See what GT decide to go with now. Of course, none of these massive picks there, but I mean, the Karma is available.
Likewise, Victor and Kassadin are also available if they want to supplement a lack of wave clear by picking up maybe a Sivir. Probably don't want to let Uzi pick up Sivir and Hecarim.
Very true. As Republic is going to take himself the Karma this time around. PentaQ thinking about a pick away of the Lucian. That is going to be... Okay, Aurelia switched up for Gimgoon. A little bit more Gimgoon flavor there. But Lupa has a little bit of experience destroying Aurelias.
I think this is a mistake in their draft. Means that the Karma and the Sivir are both available if they want to continue to augment the power of Hecarim.
Yeah, true.
Obviously, Karma not going to be picked up, but Sivir is there. Yep.
Moosey, of course, pretty good Sivir player, and that golden combo pretty amazing at clearing out creep waves.
Oh, it was looking so good, and now GT's like really stable draft just took a 90-degree turn off a cliff.
Yep. Unless Savoki has managed to master the Aurelia support, which could be pretty incredible. However, otherwise, it looks like GT pretty locked into where they are right now, and the Shen would be fantastic here from Lupa.
Yeah, so again, using that Hecarim as a flex pick, you see the Aurelia come out. We've already seen earlier Aurelia versus Hecarim, or supposedly. As I say this, they're like, nope, this is why we don't talk about hovers.
That is very strange. Okay, so they see the Trundle. They're going to lock away the Maokai, however. Straight into the Subjugate. Okay, Lupa just looking to try and lock down the priority targets.
And Uzi going back to the Ezreal. I mean, obviously not feeling comfortable taking Sivir into Aurelia. Yes, she has the on the hunt, but as soon as Aurelia jumps back there, she's going to stick to you. At least Ezreal has the ability that as he kites back, he can do damage.
Yep, very
so
good
again,
point.
we talk about this all the time in the case of the likes of Lucian, Ezreal in that same vein. And it looks like Republic's not going to go the route of the Kassadin pickup, but now hovering over to his Victor.
Yeah, wants to be able to at least collect himself a little bit more wave clear. Aurelia not offering as much safety as far as clearing out waves is concerned, apart from that Transcendent Blades, which took a little bit of a hit as far as cooldown. So not able to lean on that one. 2 seconds to go. Looks like Victor here for Republic. Definitely a comfort pick for this guy. Let's see whether he can nullify Xiao, who has switched over to Ignite as well. Now the heal. Okay, everything's going to be fine as MLXG is going to pick up the horse, and we'll see how he goes cantering around the rift.
Yeah, so we actually have much more standard compositions in terms that we're not running double teleport.
Yeah.
I don't expect that we'll see a lane swap this time around. But both team comps, they're great at 5v5ing, just in different ways. GT lack a bit of the hard initiation that RNG have on their composition with the Onslaught of Shadows as well as the Twisted Advance. That said, they have great backline reach, but they're pretty much entirely reliant on Savoki to initiate fights.
Or to rely on RNG to start fights. And if
then just
last
run
game
into
was anything to go by, they'll be doing just that. So GT may not even need any engage. Making sure they're at the right place.
But like I said, this is a complete reversal of compositions for RNG. These are all comfort picks across the board, save for that Hecarim in LXG's hands, although it fits very much in his carry-oriented style.
Yeah.
So, different iteration.
Very true. Coaches are going to shake hands. Let's see what the RNG put on the serious hats for game number 2. So we hop on.
We come and we go and we go.
Thank you very much, Uzi, and here we are onto the riff for game number 2 between RNG and GT. Surprisingly, it is GT leading 1-0 off the back of Republic's phenomenal Vladimir play in game number 1. We'll see whether they can continue the momentum or whether RNG are going to be able to find their way into this one, because they've reverted back to some definite tried and true tactics this time.
Xiaohu in particular getting his Azir. Standout player, not only for the league, but I think definitely showcasing his abilities on the global stage at MSI.
Most certainly. The Emperor of Shurima himself. It's Republic, of course, very comfortable on the Victor. As far as most played champions, the mid and bottom side of the map here for GT are all comfort picks. PentaQ, of course, playing the most Lucian out of any other AD carry, even after last game.
And you have to think that maybe RNG suspected that Republic would go the route of Victor, despite the fact that it hadn't been revealed yet, and that's why they pulled the trigger on picking up Maokai, as opposed to the likes of Shen, just so they would have that vengeful Maelstrom to
That's true.
deal with the AoE magic damage that Victor would put out in tight corridors.
Well, Looper just punches a Gromp, now heads towards the top side of the map, and standard lanes, like you said, are going to ensue.
Yeah, no surprise right there. Game Talents, they initiated the lane swap last time because they wanted to isolate, or they wanted to get Wusheng away from MLXG. This time around, having the Aurelia, it's very important that they get her in the standard lane so she can start building up to that big Trinity Force power spike. Against the likes of Maokai, Maokai doesn't neutralize lanes, he just survives them. We'll have kill threat early, both directions, so we'll see how the junglers really work around that. Should be noted that MLXG actually started bottom side of the map.
Yeah, and it's actually taken down both camps here as well, so not looking to try and quickly get towards that top side or anything for any cheesy action. Just going to clear things out as per usual. Winter's Bite is going to connect onto Savoki. Nice pressure here out of Uzi as, oh my goodness, Xiaohu continuing the pressure onto Republic.
But right now, RNG have a composition where it scales very slowly. So you have Azir and Ezreal, who kind of have big mid-game power spikes just because they have cost-efficient itemization.
Yep.
And then, of course, Azir will hyposcale into late game. You have Hecarim, who, depending on his build path, is typically more of a farm-oriented jungle, although we talked about this. Starting on bottom side, there's early kill threat with Maokai with that Twisted Advance. Now looking at Gimgoon.
Yeah, Gimgoon actually in trouble here as well, who gets the Equilibrium Strike off, flashes, but there's the Flash Twisted Advance, and Gimgoon pushed back towards his creep wave. And it's a matter of time before he's taken him down, and MLXG gets the first blood.
And just very telegraphed, straight from the beginning. This was a plan that was thought out at minute or at 1 minute in the game, starting bottom side, I'm running top side. You're at least going to have kill pressure on this Aurelia for the early part of the game. Let's lock her up Twisted Advance. In response, Wusheng, looking bottom, doesn't find Krugs, and he doesn't have the wave. Oh, there you go.
Yep, he's going to respawn here.
He
Understands the timing.
He gets nice.
Mm-hmm.
But
Spawned and ready.
he doesn't have the wave. Uzi and Mata are far forward, but Ezreal and Braum is such a self-sufficient bot lane that even if he looks for the cheeky wraparound, which he's not going to, probably because it's Ezreal, it's Braum, they're just going to shift back, jump back.
Well, at least Wusheng is able to work his way around to this Raptor camp as well, so we're going to steal away a couple of camps here from MLXG. Despite him getting the first blood, it is a 7 jungle camp advantage for Wusheng, which is good. But Skirmish and Saber already done here for MLXG and has himself a Ruby Crystal. We'll see whether it is going to be Cinderhulk then completed by this guy this time around, as Republic can't keep taking these trades.
Already a completely different look from RNG, though, setting themselves up for success early through MLXG's gank pathing. See if he continues to make use of this.
Of course, hasn't reflected too heavily as far as gold is concerned. Still only about 500, but it's not the same as last game. It's not where, you know, the lane's just naturally winning for RNG and it has to be extra movements made from GT to make things happen. As MLXG has found Wusheng, just understands that that mid lane is not healthy enough to help.
It's also just an issue that he understands how much stronger he is right now. He actually walked into Xiaohu's lane to get it pushing in to hold down Republic so he could make that rotation. So again, RNG showing a lot of forethought and planning. Could possibly have a gank up in the mid lane, which is why you see Gimgoon so reserved right now, back by his tower. Yeah.
Understands that MLXG can be taking him down. Is going to answer that Krug steal by stealing away Krugs of his own. MLXG still unseen by this GT roster. Loop are going to go back. Donate big creep wave to Gimgoon to grab himself some extra items.
But just continuing to farm out. Again, this is exactly where RNG's comp wants to be. Yes, they did get a little bit of an initial advantage by picking up that kill from MLXG, but otherwise, Hecarim's fine to continue to farm out, look for those big items. Maokai, low econ top laner. His items don't really matter. He's just there for the big 5v5, so he's not really relevant in the lane phase. Azir looking late game. Ezreal looking for 2 items. Sit back, quiet early game.
Yep, just chill out, get your money.
On the other side, game talents have to... Their power is bridged a little bit differently. You have Lucian that's going to peak rather early, as well as Graves initially, before Victor really comes online on mid-game, and then Aurelia can take over late game. So they do have a couple of options should we start using these teleports the next time they're back up and look towards making plays in the mid lane or making plays on the spot side.
Let's see, Uzi getting jumped on, uses the Arcane Shift, gets himself out of the way. They knew that Wusheng was there, but actually still playing aggressively. So there are pings from RNG here towards the bottom side. MLXG here for a counter gank if needed.
Wusheng's looking to invade the red, placing down Deep Vision. Meanwhile, MLXG's actually slipped up underneath him. Now that he's caught on this pink ward, they're going to collapse on this.
Well, there's the Ghost already here, as Wusheng already taken more than half of his health in damage. MLXG will be able to get this kill on his own, but can't get over the wall. Actually gets it with the red buff and then ults over anyway, just to celebrate the victory.
Just frankly really sloppy from Wusheng right there, thinking that he had the time. Obviously, the idea is that I'm going to take this pink ward and then I can just dash over the dragon wall.
Chaos Storm actually doing some damage here. As MLXG looking for Republic, he will be able to get him, and launches on top. Nice shield out of Republic, who's trying to buy as much time as he can. The Ghost is down. MLXG not going to be able to catch up.
Yeah, it doesn't have the mana to continue to pursue that chase, so Republic makes it out by the skin of his teeth, but will lose that creep wave into his tower, so still advantage to RNG.
Yeah, and it's starting to get large here as well. 7.5 minutes, more so. And it's getting towards that 2,000 mark. So RNG coveting quite a lead here towards the bottom side as well. I mean, Lucian lanes very well, but Trundle not necessarily known for being able to bully out a lane.
There should still never be a scenario where Ezreal has a big CS lead on you from a tier itemization.
That's true.
So again, just speaking to the power of Mata and Uzi as a duo. and Uzi particularly as an Ezreal player. This is 2 melee supports, so it's not like you even have a support range advantage.
That's a good point. Trundle is able to get a little bit more work done as now Xiaohu back here in the mid lane has himself a cheeky dagger that he picked up to augment what he already had, which was that Negatron cloak. Now blue buff is going to be handed over to the Azir.
And again, good news for RNG that they get to kind of sit back and continue to see how the lanes or the standard lanes play out, which again we're naturally winning across the board, is that it's a Cloud Dragon.
Yeah. Might actually be good news here for GT as well, who probably don't want this early game getting any more out of control. And if it was one of the more, I guess, important dragons that you might consider, it could have been a different story. Savoki now forced to go the long way around. Pentakill getting himself some solo experience, which is probably good.
Still down in farm, as Uzi has now backed and gotten his Sheen, so a lot more trading power on this Ezreal pick.
Yeah.
Onslaught of Shadows is back up and available, so now the question is going to be where MLXG will use it, as well as the TP from Looper. So RNG have all of the hallmarks of looking for a play on the bottom side of the map.
And Looper as well, actually asserting some dominance onto Gimgoon here towards the top side. Getting a very nice trade. Does have, of course, the obvious item advantage in the extra couple of Doran's rings. And MLXG looking for a dive. Onslaught of Shadows comes in, and everyone on top of Republic. There's the Emperor's Divider. Xiaohu actually stunned underneath this turret. Is going to die. Mid lane is traded for the moment, but MLXG now in trouble as Wushang flashes on top. Collateral damage not connecting, but is able to pick it up with the smoke screen. And GT get a 2-for-1.
So just very greedy from RNG. The reason why I said the bottom side of the map is because they would immediately translate that into the dragon. The reason why they picked mid lane is because Pentakill and Savoki had backed, which is why Savoki was able to walk all the way back to that mid lane and get involved on the back half of that.
Yeah.
But really greedy. So your bot lane's not there. So obviously the play is going to be mid. And Looper was too low health because he had just lost a trade with Gimgoon that he could not afford to TP and assist his team as the rest of game talents showed up. So yes, they did manage to get the kill, but trading 1-for-1 is not what they wanted.
It certainly isn't. As now Looper, Gimgoon, big wave, pushing into him. Looper getting the vision down. Wushang not going to be able to find his way in. So good heads-up play. And now, this is 2 Hex Core upgrades now for Republic. Managed to get that kill, and that's actually fantastic, because if you have a look, he hasn't got any of these sort of wasted items, interim items, to get him towards these Hex Core upgrades. He's managed to go back with exactly the right amount each time, and by the looks of things, he's actually flat out ahead of Xiaohu right now.
He's very strong right now, and again, it's this idea that RNG, they kind of forced a suboptimal play, because they wouldn't have anything, like they wouldn't have their top laner ready for them. And now they have to wait again for the full timer of this Onslaught of Shadows. Although it looks like MLXG might just try to force this. He walks through a ward.
Yeah, and Savoki actually caught out of position just a little bit. Subjugate is helping him out as he tries to get back underneath the turret, and it is going to do enough work. Culling going to follow Marta down, as well as, Pentakill getting some work in. RNG, try to force, don't get anything.
And again, that's the word choice there. Try to force. It's a suboptimal play mid that burns the ultimate, which was really needed, that they needed to use bottom lane, or needed to use in tandem with the teleport, not necessarily just bottom. They mistime the health of their top laner, they burn their Onslaught of Shadows, and then they don't have that cooldown to use it as effectively as needed, which means that they can't get any sort of objective off the back of it. So RNG, they had all of this momentum, and for the last 2 minutes, they've wasted it.
That was very cute, actually. Savoki just used his Subjugate in order to get some health back there underneath the turret.
Round 2.
Yeah, we'll see whether RNG are going to keep up with this style, because GT's taking the lead.
He's about to kill them. He's going to Onslaught of Shadow underneath the tower. Looper is ready this time. He is full health, and he's also backed by his turret. They're about to die, and Wushang realizes it. He's immediately resetting his position.
Yeah, Pentakill does get himself underneath the turret, flashes away as well as both teleports are coming in. Uzi taking a lot of damage here, so Gimgoon managing to save his bottom lane, but both teleports were followed. And GT once again get out alive.
Great response from GT to make sure that they get out of there. So excellently played by both Savoki, Pentakill, and Gimgoon. Minimize the momentum from RNG again on that cooldown window and buy themselves more time to continue to farm.
Well, you can see now Gimgoon has the Sheen, so has all of the bits of the Trinity Force completed. Xiaohu does need to be respected. Now adjust the stinger. But will soon have that Nash's Tooth as PentaQ clears out this wave quite nicely and has caught up in farm. Only 8 behind at this stage. Ghostblade will be ready, but I believe Manamune will possibly be online for Uzi now. Oh, actually goes for the Iceborne Gauntlet upgrade. Utility first before damage, unlike Uzi.
No, it actually makes a lot of sense. We see this from majority of Ezreal's,
Yes,
especially
yeah,
because
we
the
certainly
tier's power spike would take longer to come online because he surely doesn't have it stacked all the way. So you're effectively trading the flat damage of the pickaxe into the utility, and you're still getting that burst damage from the Iceborne Gauntlet. It just has a bit of a healthier early game spike, especially if they're looking for big 5v5s, which obviously RNG are ready to pull the trigger on this. We'll see if they continue to look for these skirmishers or where MLXG will look next with his Onslaught of Shadows, especially because the TP is not available.
Now Republic back into the mid lane. Now has a blue buff. So that low mana bar, not going to be a problem. Xiaohu heads back to base. See what he can complete. That is going to be the Fiendish Codex, possibly towards the Abyssal Scepter, possibly towards the Nash's Tooth. I believe most likely the Nash's.
MLXG actually running bottom right now. He could just run his way through the lane. Doesn't have Ghost, but does have the creep wave pushing forward.
Yep, Savoki also denying that pink ward there. Extra 30 gold for Uzi and decides to replace it on his Tri-Brush. Make sure that they're not going to get dove one more time as nice Winter's Bite lands from Marta.
He's going bottom.
Yeah, of course. Savoki tagged by the Winter's Bite. Decent pillar comes down as Marta is able to take a fair bit of damage there. However, you can see there are pings out of GT. They know exactly what's going on, and Xiaohu is moving down there as well.
It's because they have excellent
that's
defensive
Ghost
pink
popped
vision
here as well. So Onslaught of Shadows comes down. He has caught PentaQ this time. MLXG going to be able to lock down the kill. There's the flash from Savoki, so they only get the one. And there's a dive going down towards the top side of the map here as well. They're trying to work out who wants to go in first. It's going to be Wushang who manages to pick up the kill. So traded dives on both sides of the map. Well executed. We'll see whether the tower will fall in favor of GT as well to make it completely even.
But even if they do trade tower for tower, it will be the dragon advantage still to RNG as they can easily collapse back on that. But third time's the charm, RNG finally finds the Onslaught of Shadows. It's actually a blessing in disguise that the TPs weren't available because he didn't have to deal with any more members. So finally gets the numbers advantage that he was looking for.
Yeah, just waits enough time for that ult to come off cooldown, but you can see the gold is going to be well and truly re-evened out to the tune of about 400 here, so GT once again keeping things close, but they don't have the Vladimir insurance this time around.
And we talked about how this should be a straight upgrade for RNG, but
once again, fantastic out of Savoki. His pillar placement is 10 out of 10 as PentaQ is going to be able to lock down that kill. And that was, I don't even feel like that was MLXG really making a massive mistake. That pillar was just too good.
No, I mean, the pillar was excellent. So props to Savoki on playing that play well. But MLXG should not have been there. So we talked about how they should have had the dragon advantage because they could trade the tower and then collapse down and get a free objective instead of just trading equal. But instead, majority of RNG reset their back timers except for MLXG, who overstayed in the jungle and then was immediately punished. And they didn't get the dragon. In fact, now they lose. Well, they're trying hard to get it back.
Well, here's the teleport from Looper as well. I believe they might be able to catch out this bottom lane here at the same time. Everyone collapsing. PentaQ's going to be the first one to fall. Xiaohu picks up the kill. Savoki now in trouble as the exhaust goes down onto Uzi. Another fantastic pillar, but there's the Mystic shot, and Uzi locks down the kill. So the bottom lane definitely dead. Republic looking to try and answer as MLXG makes it here in time. And RNG showing exactly why they are so devastating here in the LPL.
Devastating in reactionary plays. Their setup has been a bit questionable this series, but we'll see if it gets stronger as it goes on. That TP did give Gimgoon a free CS lead. So he's actually going to try to bounce this wave, but because he does not get it underneath the tower, should be on that side of the map for a bit, will eventually push back.
Well, Looper at least able to grab some free farm, even things out quite nicely. As you can see, Gimgoon heading back to base. We'll see what he decides to pick up. As Wushang throws down the collateral damage, flashes out of the way, avoids getting feared up. And MLXG not able to get the kill, but gets the summon spell. And the ultimate.
We've now picked up Uzi, and we've moved him into this mid lane, so looking for this mid-tier tower. With the, again, because it's just the Cloud Dragon, they can now pretty much play on any side of the map that they choose so, because obviously sacrificing that objective wouldn't be a killer.
No.
And right now they're choosing to play to top side and contest Wusheng over the red buff. So clearly saying, red buff, more important than Cloud Dragon right now, let's go. Get in here.
Well, MLXG looking to try and grab it. Cinderlings go over to the horse. Wusheng quick draws away, and MLXG locks down the red. So just bullied there. Republic might need to be careful. Knows that there are multiple members here over this side, and the Chaos Storm goes down. Xiaohu throws down the heel, but the flash comes in from Republic. Oh my god, everyone managing to collapse, and Xiaohu somehow survives.
Yeah, eventually gets some assistance from his upper jungle right there. Republic trying to do what he can in the 1v1, but unable to execute on it, as now they're running bottom, and immediately PentaQ and Savoki trying to eject out of there.
Oh, yeah. You can see Mata over the top. Misses the Winter's Bite, but knows exactly where GT are.
And this is the perfect example of RNG's identity, just continuously fighting over the jungle.
Yeah.
Getting behind MLXG, getting him ahead. Completely ignoring the dragon, it's fine. Fight over red, fight over blue, continue to contest and challenge them.
You can see finally Gimgun going home. It's a big amount of money here for Wusheng to spend. He's massively in the lead as far as farm is concerned, and now more of Malmortius is completed. 20 minutes is going to tick over very soon as the Rift Herald does fall down by his own hand. It's still only 1,000 gold. I mean, GT, they managed to fight like they did in the last game. Catch RNG making over-aggressive plays. They still definitely have a way in this. But it feels like a very different beast they're facing this time around, as Mata possibly caught out. There's a Subjugate down as Savoki looking for another pillar, but not going to have it for the next little while, as PentaQ gets another decent piercing light over. Now you can see the rest of RNG finally able to respond. Xiaohu's moving down, and GT might need to be very careful over the next little while.
Mata was trying to set a cute trap in where PentaQ and Savoki walked in the lane, and he was able to get behind them, then to wait for Uzi to come back. Surprise from behind.
Yep.
Unfortunately, was caught out. But I like the proactive aggression.
Yeah, it was cute. It was cute. Did feel like a last game RNG maneuver, though, as opposed to a this game RNG maneuver.
Well, right now, Uzi and Mata are clearly stronger than PentaQ and Savoki. You can see that reflected in their items. The Muramana.
Yeah, I mean, Ezreal doesn't get a lot stronger than this, really.
So that's why they were so willing to try to play some sort of bush trap.
Well, Savoki now trying to get some vision control down. Mata will replace that ward. There's Wusheng looking to try and catch him out. Another pillar goes down here for Savoki, but Xiaohu is ready to slide and glide his way in. Not going to be able to get any Emperor's Divides this time. Savoki cops a whole bunch of auto attacks. You have to be careful, Mr. Trollman. And this dragon will eventually fall down here at 22 minutes.
Yep, this is the point that we're in the game. It's like, okay, we have to take it.
Yep.
Immediately into a Mountain Drake, though. So the next one will be much more relevant, especially because we're coming on that point in the game where you want to be sieging towers. And look at this respect. Republic immediately has to eject off of his tower because he didn't have vision about where RNG were. He knew that they were in the bottom side river, and they could possibly come up to the side, which is what Mata is trying to do. He's setting down triangle vision because they're trying to threaten one side of the map to force the mid and the outer tower to take chip damage or to fall. Thankfully, for game talents, MLXG is not in position to pull the trigger on it by, you know, swooping around from behind the tower.
But the fact that he wasn't in vision just meant that they had to be so incredibly careful. As RNG had set up around there. Nice vision goes down eventually for GT.
Yeah, and it's just that setup for it. So this is how you siege mid lane. A lot of teams really struggle with this concept, but you clear up the side lane or you get control of one side lane, and then you start moving into that quadrant of the jungle. You lay down triangle vision, and especially against the likes of Victor, you just threaten that side. And if anytime Hecarim walks into that side brush on that tower, Republic has to back off.
Well, it certainly did happen. Game talents now falling considerably further behind. You can see 7-4 in kills is basically what makes up this difference. RNG with a Cloud Drake, not really going to amount to too much. Uzi easily able to clear out these minions, but Republic able to do so in answer as well. Bit of a stalemate as far as the wave clear is concerned, just because Lucian has a fair bit. Victor has a fair bit.
Nah, here it comes.
Oh my goodness, the battle.
They're walking in, and now they're moving their vision towards the top side of the map, the triangle vision, and they're going to bounce between trying to siege outer top and applying pressure to the mid lane. And one of them will break first, or they'll catch someone cheating through the jungle. RNG are in full kill mode right now.
Oh yeah. And they'll easily be able to grab themselves a red buff in the meantime right here as well. So now moving up top, that's a big wave for Uzi to eat. GT well and truly occupied by Xiaohu this stage of the game. There is a teleport on Gimgoon, but also on Looper. Xiaohu slowed down with the Rylai's Crystal Scepter. And yeah, Republic's not even comfortable clearing out that pink ward because he knows that Xiaohu can just slide over and kill him.
MLXG's just power farming.
Yeah, trying to get back up. Does have that Trinity Force now as well as the Cinder Hulk. This guy's tanky and damagey. Oh, and here's the trap.
They're pinging. They want the teleport. Here comes MLXG. He's actually just running up. Here comes Looper.
Yeah, Pinkward goes down, Looper comes in, and here's the squeeze. Teleport coming in from GT as well, but a little bit later, and you can see the mid lane is moving up top. Gimgoon now wants to try and help out his team, but MLXG with a really nice flank. PentaQ flashes over the top. Wushang in there as well as Savoki is going to be the first to fall. There's the Emperor's Divide. Wushang caught between a rock and hell of a lot of hard places, as that's a triple kill instantly for Uzi. RNG now could move towards the Baron, could kill the rest of RNG. GT. We'll see what they decide to do.
So we said that RNG were setting up their triangle vision, looking to siege on the mid-2 tower. They'll hold on.
Yeah, there's the Chaos Storm doing a lot of damage actually to the backline here as Gimgoon is going to survive for the moment. Xiaohu falls down to Republic's Chaos Storm and he grabs a second kill into MLXG. Now looking for Uzi. The auto attack almost went in as the Death Ray did not do the work, but that saves the Baron completely. And almost the fight, honestly, as Looper almost falls down. He's getting aggressive. He's running out of mana, as now Gimgoon wants to try and get in on this. Death Ray is going to find Marta for the second tick, but not Uzi. Now RNG have to go home.
So I actually disagree with RNG's play completely. So you have two kind of fundamentals coming here. RNG, they've taken the time, they've spent the gold, they set up the triangle vision to contest red buff, and also bounce between the top and the mid towers. The outers are both standing, they can siege those objectives. Instead, MLXG falls back to his jungle. He doesn't pull the trigger by threatening the onslaught of shadows and just sieging up the tower with the Azir. He falls back to his jungle, he starts farming top side of the map, he then goes to the bottom side of the map. This stalls out so long that game talents actually run towards the top side of the map and start pushing in. And so immediately then RNG are like, oh, hey, they're on our side of the map, let's actually engage. And then MLXG has to run all the way across map. But they didn't kill Republic. And Republic forces them off the Baron. Like, the fact that they put themselves in a scenario where the objective that they're trying to take after the play is the Baron as opposed to sieging the tower, I think is fundamentally flawed. And against a better team, I think that that was the wrong play to try to make, and it should have been about the tower and taking down this Victor because they have the tools to do it. But they are so tunneled into this Baron right now against the likes of a massive AoE power spike on a Rylai's Hex Core Void Staff. This could be disaster if they don't play it perfectly.
You can see GT making their way over. Marta needs to stand behind someone as Looper's trying to give him a target. He's taking a lot of damage, and the Baron is actually going to help out as Looper almost completely dead, as there's Gimgoon, grabs it with the Transcendent Blades as Xiaohu has to escape. And it's exactly like you said, Frosco. I mean, this is not how RNG normally play this game.
This is not the objective that they want. That is where game talents are strong. Where RNG are strong are diving towers, are fighting. They're so good at sieging. Like the poke from Ezreal, the reach from Azir, the threat of Onslaught of Shadows, especially against the likes of Victor. They just keep putting game talents in a PowerPoint, and they're getting punished for it. They're picking the wrong objective every time.
Well, now the Dragon is available here. You can see Looper doesn't have teleport when he revives, as RNG are going to start this one off. Game talents know exactly what's going on, but they do not want to take this fight. Feeling possibly a little bit further behind than they are, because they are even right now. And that is the Mountain Drake falling, so even more Baron pressure now available here for RNG.
The reason why they had to back off the Dragon is because they didn't have the Chaos Storm available. Because they had used it to force them off the Baron, so RNG say, they don't have the ultimate, we can take something, it happens to be the Mountain Drake. That would be helpful, because they're so focused on the Baron, now they can run it a little bit quicker.
Well, let's see whether they focus a little bit too heavily on that. It's now PentaQ. Looks like he's building towards a Blade of the Ruined King, which is interesting. Does just like that item, Mr. PentaQ, as an Ezreal player. But interesting choice when you're playing Lucian. Wants to be able to cut down the high health targets as well. I mean, if you've got a Cinderhulk, generally you can find yourself Blade of the Ruined King. Republic will be able to death ray this creep wave, keep himself moving. Very even as far as farm is concerned across the board, apart from 80 carries and junglers, but it evens itself out on that score. And Sun Turret, of course, died in the mid lane.
They have to be careful, though, right now. They've, again, it's kind of been a story of RNG not using their momentum in the most efficient way on the map. Although I like this play, as they're approaching the tower. And look, Republic has to immediately back off of it. So this objective, they should have taken this 5 minutes ago. That's how easy it was.
Possibly even 10.
That kills me. I'm actually tilted now.
Well, Gimgoon at least shoves this wave into the turret towards the bottom side, but isn't going to be able to eat it, as there's the Chaos Storm actually thrown down in the mid lane. Xiaohu just slides his way out of it. So maybe a little bit wasted.
I'm trying to recover. It's fine.
Are you okay, Frosco?
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, phew. Danger. Danger times.
Okay. Now RNG should move their triangle vision into the red jungle, which is why Mata is sitting there. He's waiting for his team to join him so he can safely ward with their assistance. And they should play between the mid lane and the top lane and either catch someone out cheating through their vision that they'll eventually place, as I see the pings, or they'll just siege the top tower for more free gold, which there's the assist pings. Oh, they're going to dive on mid lane.
Well, lots of pings sort of everywhere right now, but they do want to be on the top side.
MLXG is like a puppy. And he's looking between mid lane, and he sees the immobile Victor, and he's looking between top lane. He's like, "Where do I go?
I just want to kill.
I just want to go."
Well, Mata actually taking a lot of damage.
He's
There's
going
the
top.
subjugate one more time here, as MLXG didn't ghost, did throw down the E. He's going to be okay. However, uses his flash.
And because Mata was caught out, the play fizzles, and we're now going to get our backs, spend our gold, and then try to reset the map again. Meanwhile, while all of this has happened, what I wanted to point out is that Gimgoon is huge right now. That is a 3-item Aurelia, which means that Uzi is definitely in a lot of danger. This is going to become a problem as the game goes later and later.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess MLXG is the one that's going to be coming across from Gimgoon as far as that backline dive threat is concerned. Whether he can get the same thing done is the question, as Savoki throws down another pillar. Mata just getting annoyed by this Trundle. Is MLXG looking for this, but is he going to be able to take it? I believe he just smited away the blue buff.
Yep, he did manage to get it, but he used his Onslaught of Shadows defensively, which is a big point of power lost for RNG's 5v5.
However, Sun Turret now there for some added pressure here in the mid lane. GT just want to be able to lock down as much as they can.
Well, they have a free timeline now where they know that RNG aren't going to be looking for an all-in brawl because their jungler doesn't have his ultimate. Now, naturally, Republic still has to respect Xiaohu because that guy will swoop and scoop you any day of the week. But otherwise, you know, game talents know, okay, they burned their ultimate, we're going to go back to farming and denying and placing vision. So the vision war commences.
Well, there's the ultimate, actually, as Savoki's going to get thrown back. Uses the flash, and there's the teleport from Gimgoon. Wushang has to flash, but PentaQ's taken down Mata. Now MLXG right in amongst this fight as Gimgoon's over the side. Xiaohu taking a lot of damage as PentaQ flashes on top of him. The exhaust is there, but Xiaohu gets himself to relative safety. Lupa now right in amongst it, but Game Talents are chasing this RNG roster. You can see Republic closing in from the side. Lupa is going to fall down. Oh my god, they're able to take down the bottom lane somehow, but Lupa will eventually fall. Gimgoon going nuts, and Uzi, the last man standing, flash from Republic, and they get the ace.
And the reason why is because, look, Onslaught of Shadows, it just came back up. Like, RNG chose to fight. We said that Xiaohu, he will swoop and scoop you any day of the week. And I'm not going to call it a bait, because it technically kind of was a pick, but it ends up baiting and costing his team because it turns into a big 5v5, and RNG don't have the Onslaught of Shadows, which is massive for their composition.
Oh my god, that three-man Baron went down so incredibly quickly. So let's have a look at this fight one more time. It was a decent start there from Xiaohu.
Okay, so yeah, there comes the Emperor's Divide. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the isolated target that he wants. The immediate teleport comes back in, and at this point, we are funneled into a choke point as Republic shows up and just starts to lay down all of the deeps. MLXG does manage to push him off, but it's kind of too little too late as MLXG is wandering over by Victor, eventually joins the party back at the very end. But the rest, that Aurelia, who's been gaining all of this farm while RNG have kind of been wasting their momentum, is just tearing through them.
And Republic as well, just able to lock down Uzi with a very cheeky flash over the wall. And now they've got a Baron on 3 members of GT and finally taking themselves a legitimate gold lead here to the tune of 3,000. Now with the Dragon back up, it is, I believe, a Cloud Drake, so not exactly the biggest one.
I'm honestly shocked about the fundamental decision-making errors that RNG have made throughout this series to put themselves at these deficits and behind these games.
Yeah.
This is not what I expected, and this is not to the level that I normally see RNG play. I'm honestly shocked. I'm like, oh, you know, we're gonna wait because we're waiting for the cooldown. They immediately try to 5v5.
Well, there's another gravity field there from Republic, fantastically placed to disengage from the fight. There's a GA on the Aurelia. Gimgoon is such a big deal right now. He is a real problem for
315 CS to 272, and he's able to quietly amass this throne of gold because of all of those, I'm using the Onslaught of Shadows here. Okay, I messed that one up. Now I gotta wait for that cooldown. Now I'm gonna try to use it here. Okay, I messed that one up. Now I'm waiting for the cooldown again. Meanwhile, Aurelia's just been up there just clocking, putting it away.
Yeah. She goes to work. Now going to be backing back. We'll see exactly what Gimgoon is going to pick up. Empowered Recall, pretty good. We'll see whether he's going to reposition himself, try and push out another wave. Is this outer turret still not going to be taken? As MLXG and Uzi are here. Blade of the Ruin King done for PentaQ. So these high health targets actually not going to live for as long as they'd otherwise like. Especially when MLXG only has a cloth armor worth of armor.
The big thing right now, though, is still going to be Republic and Gimgoon. These two members are massive in terms of their damage, especially if Republic can get the AoE spread if they continue to fight RNG in these choke points and abuse that.
Yeah.
Likewise, there is not a lot of disengage potential outside the Emperor's Divide to pull Gimgoon off of high priority targets.
Well, this outer turret is going to fall on the bottom side of the map. See Game Talents continuing to push this one down, want to ride these creeps into the inner turret, and RNG don't want to try and... Look where MLXG is. He's nowhere near helping this one out, and GT don't look like they're stopping. Tower falls on the top side of the map in answer. That is 1 for 2 right now as GT do take some poke. Republic, you can't take that amount of damage. It's Gimgoon caught by the Glacial Fissure.
Here comes the flank.
Yeah, they're looking to try and find their way in. Gimgoon with the Transcendent Blades is there. A lot of movement speed available for GT as Savoki takes down some vision.
If MLXG hits Republic, he's just going to explode. That guy will instantly die. MLXG is actually behind them.
Yeah, and PentaQ actually trying to stave him off right now.
Looper.
They need to protect this Victor who throws down the Ghost.
That was
is going to be okay.
Operation Saving Private Victor, trying to get him out from the back lines.
Damn right. Tom Hanks in the form of PentaQ, culling people. That's precisely what it was, though, and I mean, they succeeded. But RNG have bought some time. Like,
exactly.
No more Baron.
That's the good news for RNG, is the fact that the Baron wasn't able to break the base, so they did manage to get down to the inhib tower on the bottom side, but unable to make that connect. So great response from RNG to say, you know, we can engage on this. They are very far forward. They still, again, don't have the best siege comp.
Well, Wushang is actually very scary right now. He's got a GA to pick up, and then he's on 6 items as this Graves. Still 40 jungle creeps ahead. Despite his scoreline, still very, very frightening. And GA almost done here for MLXG on the other side of the map as well. And, man, Gimgoon is just so big. So that's a Giant's Belt. He is going to have, well, we'll see, Dead Man's Plate. What do you reckon? What would you wager?
Well, the only thing I can say is 6-item Aurelia incoming.
Yeah. And I guess it doesn't really matter. Warmogs would be fine, I'd assume.
He's already got the GA. That's kind of like the that's the line in the sand where things have just gotten from like okay to terrible.
Yeah, it's like GA, GL. Like, good luck dealing with that, pretty much, as Republic does almost have his Zhonya's Hourglass completed. And that is Lord Dominic's Regard completed here for Pentakill as well. So we'll see what he decides to pick up as his final item. Looks like he's going fairly far away from any critical strike.
Okay. We are now on execution of team fights for game victory as opposed to macro map movements.
Okay.
What needs to happen for RNG? Victor needs to explode instantly. They definitely have the tools to do that, and they have the reach in this Hecarim.
Yeah.
Likewise, Looper can negate a lot of Victor's damage if he's placed appropriately. So again, the power of that Maokai pick. Problem is that Xiaohu and Uzi need to be so careful about Gimgoon. But again, they still have the tools. You know, the Emperor's Divide can reset this Aurelia. Composition is very dependent on flanks, though.
See if they can actually get it done at the moment. Looks like the 4-1 split is happening. Gimgoon on the bottom side of the map, still ahead, an incredibly large amount. And that inner turret took some reasonable chip damage by GT. Waiting for the Baron by the sounds.
This is something that game talent should exploit, though, is the fact that Gimgoon is so strong in a solo lane.
Yeah.
A little bit harder as we go later and later in this game. Obviously, less people have free space for things like pink wards, so vision as a whole does definitely suffer. And you really need very deep flanking vision because of the speed of RNG's engagement on this Hecarim. So Gimgoon can exploit his lane matchup because of how big he is, but he still needs to be careful about the speed of which he can be collapsed on.
Well, 20 seconds now. You can see RNG have managed to delve out of their base, grab themselves some vision, at least in their jungle, towards this Baron buff, and Gimgoon switched sides as well. Sun turret goes up. Xiaohu reclaiming some control of this map. That tower is not going to last forever. Mata still clearing.
It's
Janitor.
Now the Cold Ward War.
Yeah. It's working for RNG, though. So they're setting up, trying to make sure that GT can't get any free Barons.
Well, they definitely have the safety and clearing vision and the fact that they have long reach with Azir.
However, GT still have a lot of tools to work with. Can't let their members be poked out, though.
They need to be aware of their bottom wave, however. Unfortunately, I don't have a spectator client myself, so I can't count the creeps correctly, but I'm pretty sure that that will eventually amass and push towards game talents.
Yeah. Probably something that RNG have set up there as well, as the Elder Drake is available here at the same time. So Rift Scuttler down in favor of GT. Sun turret just falls as well. It's Savoki creating a target for himself.
So Gimgoon is walking down to respond to the building slow push on the bottom side of the map. He does have teleport. We'll see if RNG are able to burn the TP and then try to set up this play again. Would require patience, of which we have not seen from them this series.
Yeah.
Normally, though, they're pretty good at it.
Well, Mata clears out one of the Scrying Orbs. Republic still has his. He's going back, wants that Zhonya's Hourglass. And will be able to pick it up. So 6 items on the Victor. This guy does rotund amounts of damage. Xiaohu's picked up his Void Staff as well. Looks like he's going then towards either an Abyssal Scepter or that GA. As Uzi does launch himself forward. There's the Subjugate as Uzi throws down the heal. Used his Blade of the Ruined King there as well. It's some big buttons here for RNG, but they are able to disengage.
So effectively, you're trading the heal for the Subjugate right there.
Yeah.
Which is a fairly important ultimate just because MLXG and Looper are so tanky.
The thing is that Savoki, I mean, it's almost half off cooldown again. RNG needs to make a play if they're going to capitalize.
Trying to catch out Wu Sheng.
Yeah, and it's all about this Baron one more time. Look at that massive creep wave towards the top side of the map. And GT pinging. Actually, no, that's RNG looking for Republic. Just easily clears out another creep wave. RNG answering with Looper, who has teleport. A lot of safety right here as GT. They did try to deal with that bottom wave, but it looks like it's still pushing back in favor of RNG.
And this is something that has really separated game talents and people's expectations, is how cool-headed they stay in really high-pressure situations. This game is effectively a single-team fight from victory or defeat. And Game Talents being patient, not falling for RNG's tricks just yet, trying to set up their own traps. And it just was completely unexpected when you looked at the names on this roster. But right now, they are going toe-to-toe and could feasibly look to 2-0 RNG.
Whoa, Republic is going to get collapsed on massive ultimates already out of RNG, but Republic is going to fall. The Zhonya's is not enough. And that's MLXG locking down the kill. Savoki's going to fall next, and now they're toppling them like chess pieces. Wushang will make it underneath his turret. They do manage to get the GA, as Mata possibly will fall down. MLXG not going to be able to find it. Gimgoon now as well as Pentacu's going to collapse. Xiaohu picks up the kill. Now Gimgoon going to fall to the GA, and he's going to complete the set as RNG run over the top of Game Talents. It took a long time, but they found their engage, and this will be the game.
Caster Curse says, I'm setting up Game Talents, rewarding them for making it this far. RNG finally decide to return to being that 7-1 team that had a great showing at MSI and dominated a lot of the LPL. They quickly smashed through a fight and should smash through this Nexus.
Yeah, Inhibitor is going to fall like butter here as RNG, with 5 members available, will head towards this base. Savoki's going to respawn, but he's, of course, the lowest level member. I have a feeling that RNG will have enough time. They've got the minions. The Nexus turrets both fallen down. The Nexus will be the next one to go. RNG with a very big test on their hands in game number 2 after their loss in game 1 are eventually victorious.
So their decision-making still very questionable throughout the series. They managed to keep it together to smooth over the issues that happened in the first game and make it count late game. But the fact that Game Talents almost had the ability to 2-0 RNG, that was a 40-minute one-team fight game. That's effectively a 50-50 coin flip. We did say that RNG, if they executed their team fight, they had all of the tools to run over Game Talents